Do you also think that learning a language is difficult? Personally, I always had difficulties with language subjects in the school and believed that I didn't have any talent for languages. Even to the point of having to repeat an entire school year because I failed my English subject. Which is funny though, because now I speak 5 languages. So do I have language talent or not? And I know that millions of students face the same problem. Mostly students used to study languages only for sake of passing exams, but they never learn to speak a language fluently. If you had the same problem with language subjects, or if your children struggle to learn a second language, or if you're a language teacher and your students face such a difficulties, then stay with me till end of this video and I will tell you why learning a second language is so hard and the solution we have for you. But first let me introduce myself. This is me, Arsalan Tosifi, known as Teacher Alen, the founder of EnglishSeed, Natural ESL Learning Solutions for Children. In 2010, I started teaching English to preschoolers. At that time, I was using the common and traditional classroom method that 99% of teachers and schools use. And I was wondering why my students found it so hard and why they couldn't seem to learn to speak in English. Soon I realized that the classic approach was the problem. I was putting my 6-year-old students under the same difficulty and stress that my teachers put me through when I was young. Therefore, I decided to find a way to make teaching and learning a language fun, stress-free, and natural. It took me years of research, trials, and participation until I could figure out the right method, which children would learn a second language the same way they learn the first language. Before I explain about my method and the EnglishSeed program, let me first explain why the classic method doesn't work and why there's a need for change. In the classic method, language teaching starts with reading and writing. This is done by translating the second language into the mother tongue and explaining it grammatically. When it comes to speaking, usually most teachers skip the speaking part because the first parts are already too hard and complicated. And when they do focus on speaking, often it's just memorized speech and not free-flowing communication. The classic method is structured and has mathematical approach, but language is not math. While doing math, we carefully apply formulas, but while speaking any language fluently, we shouldn't spend time forming sentences in our mind. Fluency is only possible when we speak from our subconscious mind, just like we do with our first language. The goal of learning a new language is the ability to communicate with wider range of people. Unfortunately, the classic method is mainly exam-oriented. Students study for years, but in the end, they don't gain the necessary communication skills. Such a waste of time. The traditional approach is very stressful, especially for children. When something is stressful, the brain will automatically resist learning it. And once the brain resists learning, one will believe is unintelligent or doesn't have the talent to learn. Ultimately, that person will always have difficulties learning a language. I believe that everyone has language talent because everyone has managed to learn at least one language, their mother tongue. With that in mind, nothing is wrong with students, but rather it's the approach that's wrong. Learning a language is like learning to play an instrument. You don't learn to play an instrument by studying it. You learn it by practicing it. And same applies for learning a language. When learning or teaching a new language, there are mainly 2 aspects to consider: the method and the content. The method is all about how to learn or teach a new language. The more efficient the method is, the faster and better the learning accomplishment. In order for us to design the most natural learning method, we have examined how babies learn their mother tongue. Let me briefly explain how babies learn their first language, so that you understand this better. At first, babies only hear and adapt the sound and the melody of a language. After that, they start recognizing and understanding the most frequently used words spoken to them. The next step would be speaking single words. These words are usually the problem-solving words. Mommy, for example, because mommy solves most of the baby's problems. Slowly, one word becomes 2, then 3, until kids learn to form complete sentences. Only after kids begin to understand and speak the language, parents consider reading and writing. It has never been other way around. Most interesting is that every parent in the world applies this method without even knowing about it. And it works 100% of the time. I'm wondering why learning a second language is not applied in the same way. If we would approach learning and teaching a second language the same way we learn our first language, then everyone could grow up bilingual. After understanding principles of learning the mother tongue, we have created the verbal loop method, in which communication skills grow via repetition of common expressions in 4 steps of listening, imitating, understanding, and speaking. Now the content. The content is all about what to learn or to teach. As much as the method is important for learning efficiency, the chosen content is important too. Good language content is relevant and applicable directly in the real life situation, because desire is the drive to learning. Unfortunately, in the most existing programs, not only the method is wrong, but also the content isn't applicable to students' everyday life situation. When it comes to choosing good content, it is important to note that each age group has different frequently used expressions, because the concerns, interests, and problems for each age group are different. To make our program most effective, we have investigated the language used by children of age group 4 to 10 and found their most needed and frequently used expressions. Then with those expressions, we have created fun expression-based songs, stories, and poems, which make the language learning even easier. Now that you have some understanding on how to teach and what to teach, let me explain how we apply it here. At first, students just listen to rhymes and stories to absorb the sound and melody of the English language and build their awareness. Then they begin imitating what they have heard verbally before even understanding it. The verbal imitation will help the students to build up their speaking muscles for the new language and prepares them for speaking. Then with help of animations, flashcards, and body language, children will gradually begin understanding the meaning of expressions used in the songs and stories. With listening, imitating, and understanding, we have installed the language knowledge in children's subconscious mind. And now it's time to pull out that knowledge and put it into speaking practice. This will be done through conversational interactions between teacher and students, as well as students themselves. As the verbal loop is applied correctly, within 3 months most students will begin speaking the basics very naturally, as if they would speak their first language. After gaining some speaking skills, students will start having mind chatter and thought in English. And that is the turning point. When this happens, they will be much more open and willing to learn more. Now, reading and writing can begin. However, the karaoke style subtitle with bouncing ball on top, phonic songs, short stories, and flashcards will be preparing the students for reading and writing from day one. All of this sounds wonderful, but the EnglishSeed program can't do any magic on its own. The EnglishSeed program will only work if teachers apply it correctly. Therefore, one of the strongest features of EnglishSeed are the powerful training videos that will guide teachers step by step and will make sure that every teacher understands and masters the following: how to apply the EnglishSeed program, how to interact with students using 100% English, how to teach phonics, reading and writing, and even how to manage the classroom with fun and respect for maximum result. With our teachers training program, even inexperienced teachers with basic English skills will be able to teach English correctly and drive much better results. The EnglishSeed program is an online-based web application for preschool and elementary classrooms. All a classroom needs is a computer with a big screen and an internet connection. As mentioned before, we shouldn't spend time thinking and forming sentences. Fluency is only possible when we speak from our subconscious mind, just like we do with our first language. The EnglishSeed program is designed to develop language skills in children's subconscious mind. This way, children can grow up bilingual and never forget the English they learn, just like they never forget their first language. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has helped you. If you would like to find out more about our free offerings and programs, visit EnglishSeed.com and follow our YouTube channel. For teachers, we have lots of free valuable educational informations to take away, as well as complete animated video courses regarding natural ESL education and classroom management. For schools, our complete ESL curriculum package is still in development stages. Please be patient and it will be ready soon. You can find all the links in the description section. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please comment below or contact us directly through EnglishSeed.com. See you in the next video.